Hello guys, as you know, one of the requirements is to check the version of Net Framework, and the Net Framework which we should have to be able to install SQL Server 2019 is this one, Net Framework 4.6.2. Now how can I detect what kind of Net Framework do I have in my device? There are different methods. The easiest one is to use registry key and then you access to a specific path and check the Net Framework number, and you can also deploy your code as we have in here. And it is a good idea for you as a system admin. It's good that you know how to do some script and how to develop your own program which you can use at any time for different reasons. But for now, let us check the first method. The first method is I need to find the number by myself, and by compare the number with this table, I would know exactly what kind of Net Framework do I have on my device. So as you see here, for version 4.6.2, if it is Windows 10 and Windows Server 2016, the number should be this one, 394802. This is decimal number. And on all other Windows operating system, including Windows 10 operating system, the number should be this one, which is a bit greater than the number of this one. So if I have any number greater than 394802, I know it is Net Framework 4.6.2. Then if I have any number greater than this one, 460798, I know it is now Net Framework 4.7. If it is greater than this number, I know it is 471. Then it is greater than this one, I know it is 472. And finally we have 48 if it is greater than this number. Now how can I deploy a code? I will show quickly this code. So as you see here, we will discuss it a bit, but this is a bonus code. Like if you don't want to deploy it using Visual Studio, feel free, just detect it manually. So we'll start with manual detection and then we will jump back to the code for those who they like just to improve their skills also in this field. So as you see here, I just put if statement. With this if statement, if release key is greater than 528040, I know now it is 48 or later. If it is greater than this key, it is 472, greater than this key, and so on with all other versions down to version 4.5. But for me, what I'm trusting with is 4.6 and later or newer versions. Now, to detect it manually, you need first to access to registry key, run. So I need to type register edit, regedit, click on OK. Then you need to access to registry key. A registry key, you need to follow the following path. But before that, let us go back to the table, because what we will get from the registry key is one of these numbers. We won't get exactly the Net Framework version. And I will access back now to registry. Now in the registry, if you check, you need to access to HQ local machine software. Then after that, we need to access to Microsoft. And in Microsoft, we need to access to Net Framework. In Net Framework NDP version 4, then full version, and on full version I'm trusting with this keyword which is release, and here it tells me I am 528049, which is version 4.8. as you see, 528049 here. This is for Windows 10, and currently I'm using my real device which I'm using to record and to host also the labs. So on my real device, this is the IP address, but definitely I want to find the Net Framework in the virtual machine itself. This is what is important to me because I install SQL in the virtual machine, not in my real host. But this is just how to detect it. So I find the number now and I know it is 4.8, which is greater than 4.6.2, which means I can install SQL if I want on this device. But of course, this is not my goal. My goal is the main device, which is in our lab environment, is going to be SQL 2019A box. Let us check the code. The code which we deployed here, if you run it, just give it a run. Now start. With that one, it tells you according to the code that currently on this device we have Net Framework version 4.8 or later. We can close it now. And also it tells me about the path for it. And in that path, according to the path, here as you see, I can find the executable version because the system can convert my code to exe file. This exe file now is in this path for me, and here is it, Net Framework version.exe. I just copy and paste it in SQL box. We need to log in here. And once I run it, it tells me now in my SQL box the Net Framework version is 4.7.2. Or I can of course access to registry key and again follow all the path. Software, Microsoft, Net Framework, NDP, and then version 4 full. and then I'll find also the registry number, and according to that I will be able to retrieve back and get the version number of Native Framework. So in this device now, SQL Server is ready to be installed when it comes to Native Framework. And I know some other information relating to the RAM, to the space. Let us check them. If I access here to Windows Explorer in C drive, it tells me I have 44 gigabyte free. It is more than enough. I just need to get 6 gigabyte. And if I check properties, the format system or the file system, I have it on this partition, tell me it is NTFS. This is again good because I need either NTFS or REFS. I want to be able to install it on FAT32 or the older version, which is FAT. This is what I need. If I want to check the RAM, while I'm in here, I need to access to Task Manager. So Control-Shift-Escape, I get the Task Manager, Control-Shift-Escape again, more details, and in more details in performance, I can get the memory is 4 gigabyte. It is more than what I need for the lab purpose, and my CPU information, the speed is fine, the CPU itself was it fine, and I know the CPU is 64-bit because anyway Windows Server 2019 cannot be run on 32 CPU, so definitely it is 64 bits. So everything now is ready. I already have the last update of this server. If I access to local server again and check here for Windows update, download updates only using Windows update, let us see what do we have in here. We have now just this new update, and I need of course to install it. Last check, last day in previous month, which means I have now the list of updates which I like, and I don't have anything more after that. Okay, here just because maybe this device cannot access now to the internet, so that's why I get this error, but it's fine. But this device now is fully to be used to install SQL Server. Now for the code here, I just quickly, for those who they like to deploy codes, this is the code. I'm just quickly going to explain what we have in here. If you are not interested with the code, then just skip the rest of this video, because you already now know how to detect and find the Native Frame version. Now with the code, what we start with, we start first to create a new project, and that project I should create a console application .NET Framework. To you here you have a long list of options you can go with Visual Studio. So if you just want to access console application, just in platform, change platform to Windows, and you will have now a shorter list for console application, and the language you can change it also to C#. So C# with the platform which is Windows, you will get the console application. Next, continue and build your application. Application is going to be open like this, but it's going to be empty. There is no code in here. All the libraries to be used except this library, you need to add it by yourself, which is using Microsoft.Win32 is not going to be added. So make sure to type using Windows 32, and the rest of the code is in here. You need to deploy it by yourself. So the idea is simple. We start with the void main, call this function, which is get 4.5, which 4.5 plus. I mean any version 4.5 and above, please bring it back to me for framework plus from registry. And for the registry, this is the key software Microsoft Native Framework Setup NDP version 4 full. This is where we need to access. Then we are going to call a function, and the function will call another function. So with this one, we are going to check to detect the NDP key. If not null, and NDP key get value release not equal null, then right line Native Framework version, and here we call a function. In that function we are going to send our path for the key and retrieve back the information. Now when you call this function, this is exactly how it's going to work. It's going to check the release key for the version available and return back the value. Return the value according to the key. So then when you try to print it here, it's going to print first Native Framework version, and according to the returned value you are going to see the data, which is maybe 4.7 or 4.5, etc. Or if we cannot find any key in here, then Native Framework version 4 or 5 or later is not detected. In case you have just a very old Native Framework, or even if it is not installed for any reason, then you will get this message. Now in addition to this main script code, just add it here. If you take a look to the project, just add it another file, right click, access to add, and in add I select a new item. In a new item in general, I just add a text file and I called it details, as you see in here, and it has been added. This is my details file. This details file has nothing to do with the program itself. I just add to it the table. So I can use this table with my code because now when I have the numbers and I know which versions, according to those numbers, I deployed this code. So this file, which we have it in here, is just a reference to deploy the code. that was a quick idea about how you can deploy your own program and how you can use it. Maybe assume you are in an environment, and in environment we want to deploy SQL Server on, I will assume, on a branch office too, and we have 10 branch offices. And the people or the IT staff who are working in there, their level is not that much advanced. They have limited access to the devices. You want to restrict their access, give them only the right permission. It includes, for example, access to the registry key. So by this, you can simply deploy such a code, distribute it to them, so each one of them can detect now what kind of Net framework is available. Or even you can expand the work of the code which we have it in this program, and you can deploy that full scan for all SQL servers in your domain environment, include the branch offices, and then you will retrieve back the Net framework on all these devices. You can, by the way, also deploy a PowerShell script for such mission. But here, this is just, an idea which we try to improve our work by using it. So by this now I can tell you we detect everything on our device in this lab, and our box now is ready to install SQL Server, and this is what we need to start with it. Thanks for watching.